Recording in progress.
Yeah, that you couldn't sound like a robotic voice if you tried.
I love her little voice. She doesn't want to hurt your feelings or nothing, but guess what? We're recording this. So if you need to leave, you will go ahead and leave. It's how we're all so careful now about everything. The Unitarians will say, if you're like in a Unitarian service, they will say like, please rise as you are willing and able.
Yeah.
So like, as you are willing and able. It's not like the Baptists say, get on your feet, get your hands in the air, get on your feet, get your
on your knees. Get on your knees.
Get on your knees, exactly. That's funny.
I remember now the Lutheran. You remember the church sanctuary
I do.
And it had those little wooden things that you would put down and then you would kneel on them.
Yeah, the kneelers.
Yeah, I couldn't do that now. There's no way. That would hurt my knees.
Well, I could get down there if I could get back up by holding the back of the pew. Okay, I'm getting up now.
I remember that sanctuary well. I remember when I graduated kindergarten from there, did they have a little graduation ceremony for y'all?
Yes, they did, but I don't remember it.
We had to wear white dresses. And I don't know what the guys were wearing, but I had to wear a white dress. And my mother put my hair in a beehive, if you can believe that.
I can believe it, yeah.
I was graduating kindergarten and my hair was up like this and there was a scarf around it. Like that.
Oh my God. I tell you what, the cruel things that were done to us, it's amazing.
They took a bunch of pictures of that too. So if I ever run across one, I'll show you, because it's like, what's that little girl dressed like an old woman for, like a middle-aged woman?
So you were like a little dwarf.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but I like that sanctuary, and I didn't know the word acoustic probably, but I liked the sound in there.
Yeah, that was a very modern school. So I guess for its time, it was really pretty fancy.
Yeah, I guess it was. I haven't been back there, but I have really good memories. I drive by it all the time.
You know what we should do one Sunday? We should go to church there. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, especially if nothing burst into flames when we walked in,
Right, and if we could just scooch forward on the pew and not actually have to kneel.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be better.
I think I was trying to remember her name, Mrs. Shell. There was Mrs. Collins and Mrs. Shell, and I think Miss Shell was the first grade teacher maybe, and Miss Collins was the older lady, and she was the kindergarten teacher, and Miss Shell lived across the street from us, and so she drove me to school, and she didn't drive me home, but she drove me to school, and yeah, I liked that little school. I did.
Well, it got me off to a good start and saved me, once I got to middle school, which was just terrible.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, middle school was hard on many folks, I know.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess I can see myself going back there and visiting church with you. What do you do with Byron when you hang out? Well,
we went to church. We go to church. We love to go to church just to see if anything will burst into flames.
I remember that we had these little trinkets and stuff that we'd go around and sell. Go door to door.
Oh, yes. And like little bracelets with the Lord's Prayer and stuff like that. Yeah.
I had this little, I don't know what you would call it. It was this round piece of glass because it looked like it was kind of rainbowy in the back of it. It had Jesus's face on it. And
oh my God. Oh my God.
And if you sold enough stuff, you could pick out something out of their catalog, and they encouraged you to do that. So that's where I got my Bible from.
Oh, how nice.
Stuff. I sold magazine subscriptions and something else. Those little trinkets, and I think that's all we had to sell. But from what I understand, kids now, they really have pressure to sell stuff now. I remember my little nephew.
And they'll put up a page on Etsy or wherever to sell stuff.
To sell.
Yeah.
There was the smartest little girl, or maybe it was an older person that gave her the idea, but she lived out in somewhere in Colorado, and she was selling Girl Scout cookies, and she put her stand right outside of a dispensary, a marijuana
That
dispensary.
is so smart. Golly.
They said she made a lot of sales from it. So never.
I believe it. I
Well,
believe it.
well, so here she is in grade school. How is she supposed to know about things like munchies? And that was my question in my mind about.
Yeah, that's one of her parents, or her uncle, her hippie uncle.
Her hippie uncle. That, yeah, the cool one that didn't stick around that much.
Exactly.
I don't even know that this has nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about. So I don't know how we do this every time, but I wanted to ask about warding properties because yeah,
Okay.
more and more people are feeling it. They're feeling pressure, they're feeling nervous, they're having issues and they don't know where it's coming from. Are they hexed? Are they just run of bad luck because they're not paying attention to details? Or is it
You are a stinker. I want it to be known. Hereby let it be known that Alicia is a stinker.
Oh, why am I a stinker?
I'm just saying, you know why I'm calling you a stinker.
I do.
I wish y'all could see her face. It's like, what? What'd you say?
Because you were gonna, that's what you were gonna talk about.
Warding is something that's very important, and it's something that not a lot of books talk about. But here is a bit of shameless self-promotion. My book, which is coming out on Wednesday, because y'all will hear this next Sunday, is called Small Magics, and it has a section on warding and shielding. Shielding is where you put an energetic protective field around your body. Mm-hmm. And warding is where you do the same thing, but you do it around your car or your house or your property. Mm-hmm. Now, if you are a person of a somewhat nervous disposition, or if you feel particularly fraught in the world, you may choose to do all of those things, is to ward your property, to ward your house, toward your car, and put shields around yourself. That feels a little bit like overkill to me, but I understand right now during tower time that an awful lot of people, they want to bring out the big guns and do whatever they can. I get that. And I mean, y'all, by the time you hear this, we will be done with the blue moon, which is tonight. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There are 5 planets that are in retrograde, and a 6th, I think, is becoming retrograde in a week or so. So that always leads to a lot of confusion. We are in such a strange place politically right now. So, if you feel like you need to do all that, I am not going to be the one to tell you not to. So all of it is about bringing energy from wherever you bring your energy, either from the earth or the sky or whatever. And you use it to circle up whatever thing you want to protect. So if you have a small enough property that you can ward your whole property, you might choose to do that. It takes a lot of energy to do that, though. So I recommend to people always that they find a naturally occurring thing on their property, whether it's a big old healthy tree or some big stones or whatever you can find that's part of the natural landscape. And then you go to that and you basically say, I want to tie an energy field to you. And is that okay? That's what I do because I'm an animist. Other people might just say, it's my property and you're going to help me hold this. I don't know how you work with your spirits. You have to figure that out for yourself. But for me, I would ask that big old tree I'd like for you to hold this energy for me. I'm going to raise it up, and if you'll just hold it. So it's like attaching a battery or an electric line to your electric fence. So you don't have to be out there holding it onto your battery. You've got something holding the energy for you. So you can do the same thing around your house. And I always do it energetically. There are people who, and before we started today, you had mentioned people use railroad spikes. They use because iron is folklorically important for repelling spirits. So whatever is part of your folkloric culture that does that, you can add that in. But for me, it's all about getting that energy field up and getting as much protection as you can. And then you can also do that closer to your house. So if you have a big piece of land and you're trying to protect the whole thing, like I used to be the protection gal when the herb conference was out at Lake Eden. And that's a big hunk of property to try to ward. And I had a couple of people usually that did it with me, but we tied it into, there's a big outcropping of stone there, and we would tie it to that. So it's something I encourage people to do. Same with personal shielding, though. I don't think it's helpful to do your personal shielding and keep it up all the time. I just don't. I think we need to have that energy down. We need to be vulnerable and able to hear and smell and see all the things we need to hear and smell and see. Does that make sense?
It does. And
yeah, so warding is important. If you can't do your property, do your house. If you don't have a house, do your apartment. A place that is pretty easy and quick to ward because of the shape of it is a trailer. Because trailers, generally speaking, you can walk all the way around them. They are all rectangular, so they're not some odd shape. So it's easy enough to set up a kind of bing, 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 bing energy field around them. And they're also metal, so you can have the trailer itself hold the energy of the ward. Yeah.
So when I think about those subjects, I actually think about energy in terms of electricity, because that was the first visual thing that I had with energy. And I recall this time that, I was around electric fences a lot. I bet you were too. And I recall there was this electric fence, and I had a branch, and it had a bunch of little outcroppings on the branch, twigs and whatever. And I touched the electric fence, and nothing happened. So I laid it right on the electric fence. Nothing happened. And as time went, every time I laid that there, nothing would happen. And for some reason, and I don't even know why, I guess because I was just dumb, but for some reason, I started taking those twigs and other little branches off until I had a stick. Yeah, yes, and I touched the stick to the electric fence, and it shocked the shit out of me. and it shocked me so bad that the two little metal holes in my tennis shoes burned my feet. You know those two little holes there?
Yes.
It burned my feet. But so that, to me, I have always used that as kind of a metaphor for doing energy work. Because if you've got 50 distractions, which would be 50 little twigs there, the energy will be so diffused that it's not going to have any effect. But if you're focused and you've got one focus, it'll go right through you, baby.
I know that's not funny. You poor little young'un.
I was young.
That is so funny.
That's
hilarious.
I can't remember why I was doing that. It's because I had plenty of time, and
I was going to say because you were bored and you were
I was a kid in the country, and there was a lot of electric fences that I was told not to get around.
Exactly. And you were told in no uncertain terms, don't touch that damn fence.
Yeah.
I told you not to touch the damn fence.
I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell us. I guess I just didn't wear shoes for a few days, which would not be unusual.
But you remember it down to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. And it gave me a good kind of metaphor for energy work.
Holly, that is so funny.
It's
I mean, no, I mean, that's so sad. I wasn't around very many electric fences because I was mostly around barbed wire,
oh yeah,
or as we call it, bob wire.
Bob Wahr.
Bob wire.
Bob Wahr's, I haven't heard that in a long time, but yeah, that's how.
Yeah, one of the many skills my daddy taught me was how to run bob wire.
Bob Wahr. I
Yeah.
know that's something I have never done. I wouldn't trust myself around it. I'm
Well,
not that graceful.
you're supposed to wear gloves. I don't believe my daddy ever did though. But yeah, it's not hard to do. You have like a little what do you call it? Like a cat's paw. What do you call them things? And one of you pulls it back like this, and the other one hammers in the staple. That's not bad. It's not hard. It's good when it's two people though. I can't imagine doing it by yourself.
Those folks out west who deal with, miles worth of stuff like that. Oh my God, I can't get it.
It seems exhausting, doesn't it? Phew.
But let me go. Speaking of many subjects, let's go back to warding again.
Okay.
Define it simply. Just what is warding? Just in case somebody's never heard that term.
Well, a ward is an intentional and usually energetic boundary between the property where you are and the property outside of there.
And what does a ward do?
Well, it should keep energies, i.e., if you want to talk about spirits or malevolent spirits, it should keep those out.
Okay. By the way, I apologize if you hear noise. What you're hearing is rain.
I know it's raining here too. Hooray!
Yeah. So
yeah, this is the third rain today we've had, and we had a big old gully washer yesterday.
Yeah.
Frog strangler. We had a frog strangler.
Frog strangler. Yeah. So, is a ward the thing that gives? Let's say there was some cottage somewhere in, I don't know, in Asheville.
You mean like a little cottage up on Wyrd Mountain?
Yes.
Like that little cottage. Like that. Yes. Now, what were you asking?
Well, if it was properly warded, there would be some man who wasn't really appreciated there. Would that person get a feeling about it?
They might. Yeah.
Because of the ward?
Yes, if you had wandered through the wards, and of course that is possible, and you were inside there, you might feel like you weren't welcome. You might feel like it was a place that was not your place.
That's the way energy work is.
That's the way that kind of magical energy works. And if you were on that property when you shouldn't or to been, then you might also have run into land spirits. Now, you probably wouldn't have seen them like little garden gnomes, but if you say we're on that land and suddenly everything was silent and you didn't hear any birds, you didn't hear about any squirrels rustling around, or any of that, it was perfectly silent, that in addition to you feeling uncomfortable in general, you might also feel a little bit uncomfortable that you weren't hearing any of the natural sounds you would expect to hear.
And I always when I thought about that situation, which maybe we'll bring that story up in another episode in the future, but when I thought about that situation, I wondered if somehow magically that person's nervousness or guilt feeling or whatever they were a little worried about, if it somehow got magnified.
Well, and it would in a way, because if he was there and he was feeling uncomfortable, and then there were like birds around that were bugging him, or the squirrels or whatever else, that would just feel natural. Yeah. It would just feel like, oh, well, I mean, I'm uncomfortable. I'm in the woods and there's animals all around, and that feels like a natural uncomfortableness. But if you're in the woods and it's completely silent, that's like the stuff of horror movies.
I can't imagine the woods being silent. No,
No,
I wouldn't care for that at all. Okay,
no.
well, that was
You
a
know, but we all know that those of us who walk in the woods like you and I do, is that when you come into the woods, if you're not being careful and not being quiet yourself, it gets quiet. You get to you walk into like a little clearing and it'll get perfectly quiet while everything that lives there looks at you and determines whether or not you are dangerous.
right.
But neither one of us are dangerous. So then the decision would be, oh, well, then we can just go about our business because they ain't here to do nothing.
Mhm. So,
They're just here picking mushrooms.
I, I observe the crows in Hendersonville at my place there, but I don't really have any interaction with them other than to appreciate them. And what I've noticed lately is that there's 4 giant ones, just the biggest crows I've ever seen, that are out there. So I pull into the driveway, and the 4 of them are about, I don't know, 10 feet away, not too far away at all. And I was very slow when I opened my car door and stuff, but they didn't, 2 of them flew off, but 2 of them just stayed there and hung out. And I really appreciated that too. But they know, they've seen me enough, and
Yeah, they're not as scared of you.
They shouldn't be.
It's like, oh, it's her. Whatever.
The worst thing I'll do is take a picture of them. So
Right. Or talk about them behind their back on this podcast.
I do that. So what can you say? Well, so that's a good, that being what we were talking about previously, warding.
Yeah,
That's what I would consider self-protection 101 or protection 101. Okay.
Yes, and anybody who claims to be a magic worker or witch or whatever, and they don't do that, well, that it just surprises me. Why wouldn't you do that really basic thing? But people surprise me all the time. They do.
Yeah, people surprise me too. I told somebody today, I said, well, if I ever win the lottery, I don't care if the place I get is big or small. I just want it to be in the middle of nowhere, because people suck. People do, they do. I don't want to be around them that much anymore, I think. But not that I've given up on them or anything. I just value my privacy, I think.
Yeah, privacy, and I don't know. The older I get, the more sensitive I get to noise.
Mhm.
And so I'm not good with that. I'm not good with that at all. Well, I will say, I think, Alicia, I think my career has hit its pinnacle because my buddy Jason, who is with this band called Icarus Witch, he sent me a note on Twitter and he said, hey, we're about to release this song. And I want you to know that it reflects all of what you talk about. And I just want you to hear it. And so he sent it to me, and it's called The Rise of the Witches. And and they're a metal band. They're out of Pittsburgh, I think.
Oh, cool.
And it's really good. So if y'all are interested in that, you can go on my Facebook page, and I posted that because they released that yesterday, I think.
Icarus Witch.
Icarus Witch. And they've got like 7 or 8 albums. They've been around for a while.
That's
But I just thought, man, when my words can help inspire a song, a heavy metal song, damn, what more do I need to do?
I don't know. I saw you in some photos. I want to say maybe Amy Blackthorn was with you. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, me and Amy.
You were both dressed in leather. I was like, damn, Byron.
That was so fun. That was well, one of them, when we're flipping everybody off.
Yes, that was the one.
That was at Sacred Space, I think. The conferences were in the same hotel. And the guy who took that is a professional photographer. He's just amazing. And he did some really beautiful photos of both of us separately, and then a couple of them together because we were buddies. And so the one of us flipping everybody off is funny. But the other one,
rock and roll.
Yeah, it's very rock and roll. But the other one was at FairyCon, And the way FairyCon was, they used to have on Friday night, they'd have the Good Fairies Ball. And that's where they had some lovely light fairy music. And everybody dressed in like pretty, summery, springy,
Wow.
bell-tail, flower crown, that kind of stuff. And then Saturday night was the Bad Fairies Ball. And the Bad Fairies Ball, people, I mean, you could see how we were dressed. So I had on leather boots to the knee. I had on, leather jacket. Underneath the leather jacket, I had on like a see-through black lace camisole. And then I had a pair of like boy underwear shorts on. And then I had this big leather headdress and a mask. It
Yes,
was hilarious.
the
It was
leather headdress made you look like one of those guys that they drop the guillotine on you. You know?
Oh yeah, exactly. I was the executioner. But yeah, and we were, we had maybe a drop to drink or so. Golly,
That's
yeah,
rock
that
and
was
roll.
funny. It was that was me being very right. And that wasn't that long ago either. It wasn't like, in some way, there's a picture of this too. There used to be this kind of arts festival down on Lexington Avenue. It was called Laugh, Lexington Avenue Arts Festival, maybe. And Mother Grove Goddess Temple had a table one year. So we were all taking turns staffing the table. And I had worn basically that same kind of black outfit. I think I had the boots on too. And then I had a set of enormous black leather wings. And I walked right past, oh man, what is her name? Kitty Love, who does my tattoos. I walked right past Kitty Love and she didn't even acknowledge me. And I was going somewhere, so because she was on the organizers. And then I hear behind me, God damn it. And she turned around and she said, Byron, is that you? And I was like, yeah, what? So sometimes I have to, do that just for fun.
I would too if I was you. No joke.
I got to have fun sometimes,
Yeah, yeah. It was because you deal with some heavy subjects. So every now and then anybody would want to lighten up, have a little fun.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, we're not all about death and dying all the time.
I am not. I'm sometimes about planting things. I went out today. I got this pitiful, let me back this story all the way up. This sweet gal named Andy, who works for the Mountain Express, interviewed me last week for this new book that's coming out. And we met over at Earth Fair in the cafe. Mm-hmm. And on the way in, there's just pitiful bunch of plants from Wildwood Nursery. And then they'd been there too long and they were dry and they just were pitiful. But there was one, I love Nicotiana, the flowering tobacco. I love that plant.
Yeah.
This is a really light pink and it's a miniature variety. So I saw it and I thought, I'm gonna get that one. So I got it and paid for it and then had the interview and then I left. So it's been in my kitchen where I just kept watering it so it would, be good. And then today, after we had all that rain yesterday, I went outside and it had just started raining again. And I planted that thing with the other one that I have. I have a big white one. So I was out in the rain planting things and I thought, oh, finally I'm planting something again. This feels like me. Feels like I can live again.
I get that. I get that. If I have to be inside, say allergies are killing me or something, and I can't go out in the pollen or something, after a while, I can't function well. I don't even feel like myself.
Well, it has been so. I mean, I've been on the road as we know, and that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
I've been on the road a lot this year. Mm-hmm. And while doing that, I've also been writing this book that I swear I didn't think I'd be able to write. And then I got the hook for it. And it's just been, but it's meant that when I look at myself in the mirror, look at me, I'm even paler than usual, and I'm that unhealthy looking pale of somebody who just doesn't get outside,
You look like a writer.
and I just don't.
The book.
I look pasty is a word I use for it. Um, Andy and I took a picture, and she has these rosy cheeks, and she just looks. I mean, she's younger than I am, of course, a lot younger, but she also just looked healthy, like she's been outside doing stuff. So this book, by the time y'all hear this book will have gone into the editor. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna I'm gonna take a walk every day in whatever part of the day is coolest. And I've been eating good, but I've not been outside, and I hate it. I just hate it. I'm
I,
not doing it. I'm
I,
not doing it again.
there's a place I'm going to take you when you have the time. It's in Hendersonville. It's just a little place to eat, but you're going to like it.
Is it
You're
the
going to really
sushi
like it.
place?
Nope.
Oh,
No
okay.
sushi there. And I'll give you a
I'm,
hint. It's only open from 10 until 2.
oh, it's a diner.
Nope. It's
No?
not. Mm-mm.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's
Yeah,
do
no,
it next week.
I
No,
saw
I
it.
can't do it next week.
I saw it for the first time today, and the very first reaction I had was, Byron needs to be here.
Oh, good. That'll be fun.
I like it. I
Do
really
that. I'll meet you down there one day.
Okay, now that'll work. So let me circle back. We were talking about wards. And
Yep.
before that, we briefly mentioned grounding, which is 101-B, or maybe it's A, I don't know, which comes first, warding or grounding? Which one?
Grounding is, I mean,
Grounding.
in my book, grounding is first.
All right.
Because
Then
you gotta reestablish your connection.
I'm going to read your
I
book.
mean,
Oh.
and we all have, that connection all the time, but I mean, to the earth and the energies of the earth and to everything that is, we always have that connection, but sometimes we just get so busy or so unhealthy, pointing at myself, unhealthy or distracted or whatever, and we don't acknowledge that. So I think the first thing, and certainly in my book that is already out called Small Magics, I just happen to have a pile of them right here. So reestablishing that connection is what I call grounding. Some people call it earthing. That's the more kind of new age way to talk about it. They say earthing.
I heard about earthing way back in the late 70s.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's when the new age folks were getting started.
Was that what it was? Okay.
Well, because grounding sounds so dirty, sounds earthy. Ugh. Sounds like you would have to touch the earth, touch soil. Ugh. Touch dirt. Ugh.
I like that thought. But for those who have heard, like you might have heard somebody say, oh, she's really grounded. For the folks who maybe don't know for sure what it means and for sure what it will do for you, what does it do for you?
Well, I mean, to say that somebody is grounded usually implies that they are solid, that they are balanced, that it takes a lot to knock them over. And because they are those things, they could in fact also be helpful and a good ally and a good friend to have. So being grounded, I think, says a lot about a person. They say that the astrological signs that are earth signs, that it's easier for them to be grounded. But grounding is reestablishing and re-acknowledging really your connection to the energy of the planet, the energies of the planet. And something I came up with actually with this book, because I don't just write, I actually stop and think about things and think, well, what do I know? Crazy.
There you
What
go,
does that
using
mean?
your brain again.
What does that mean exactly? And I think that grounding, this is going to sound, I don't know, it may sound okay, but it may sound weird. Grounding is the act of wrapping our soul self and our physical self together the way DNA is wrapped. So I think the double helix of DNA is an image for us to hold on to about how our physical selves and our spirit selves are wrapped together, that you can't have one without the other. And the act of grounding is the thing that I don't know, I'm trying to say, grounding really helps you to understand what that connection is. And so then it connects you to the energy of the planet, the energy of your fellow beings, to celestial energies, to the spirit world. It just connects you.
It also syncs your body up with the energies of the earth.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, and I think one of the side effects of being good at grounding is you have more clarity of thought when you're in an adverse situation. It doesn't bother you
Yes.
much. And
Yes, indeed.
to me, grounding is protection, a type of protection.
Yeah.
Because I've got that ADD brain anyway. And to be grounded, for me, I can have that feeling of being grounded. And I know that somebody comes at me in a conversation, I'm going to have a good chance of holding my own because I'm grounded. I'm calm, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's really important because I think it's easy to get overwhelmed in the modern culture. It's easy to get overwhelmed. They get kind of distracted and, knocked off your pins. It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I put a meme on Facebook today. I've been all about the memes. That's the thing that's kept me relatively sane the past couple of weeks. And this one is, and then after all you've been through, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then it said, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's Darth Vader holding a lightsaber.
All right. Hey, it counts.
And I went, hey, yeah, I that's what I'm feeling. That's all. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, I saw the one about the polyamorous gardener, and I got to send that one to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It said, I'm not polyamorous because I love many people. I'm polyamorous because gardening is hard and I need help. I was like, okay, that's very that's a good practical.
Gardening is hard. It is true. I don't know if I could put up with the rest of it though for that.
Well, yeah, humans are complications. Every relationship.
And, I say that, and then there's so many humans that I just love so much. And then there's just like the great mass of humanity that I'm like, damn it, come on. People really have some common sense. I mean, who's that young fella that did that song, Richmond, North of Richmond? And bless him, I mean, it's hard on the heels, all that Jason Aldean crap. And here's this kid, really. And I guess the Republicans use that as their theme song for their debate.
Rich man north of Richmond?
Rich men north of Richmond. Yes. And they used it, and then all the right wing is like, yeah, this is our anthem. And this poor kid that did this song has done a video saying, y'all are the people this song was written about.
Oliver Anthony.
Yes.
That's his name. Well, that's what it has become. And how many songs have certain politicians or people with political leanings had on their campaigns or whatever, that the people have come out and said, no, don't play my stuff.
Yeah. Or obviously the people who chose that didn't understand what the song was about.
That too.
And so this poor kid, I'm just going to say he's a kid because he looks like he's maybe 30 years old. Yeah. He looks like my daughter's age. Here's this poor kid. He did the song, and it's a lovely song. It's a powerful song. So then the right wing takes it, which means that the left has to be pissed off at him and the Republicans. And then he says, well, no, it ain't about what you think it's about. It's about you. You are the rich men that are north of Richmond, you bunch of political bozos. And now everybody's mad at him. Everybody's mad at this poor kid. It's a damn good song, I thought.
I'm going to have to listen to it now.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Wyrd Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.
And that's how I got this tattoo.
I'll tell no one. Your secret is safe with me.